Hi everyone, this is Gruesome Herzog, Season 12, Episode 31. Here's a film that I was not quite sure about. I'm a big fan of the original in 1984, Children of the Corn. I did watch all the rest of them, and it kind of went downhill, farther went down in the series. I said, what the hell? This movie's called Children of the Corn Runaway in 2018. Here's the storyline. The plot of Children of the Corn is a runaway follows a young pregnant Ruth who escapes a murderous child cult in a small Midwestern town. She spends the next decade living anonymously in an attempt to spare her son the horrors that she experienced as a child. She lands in a small Oklahoma town, but something is following her. Now she must confront this evil or lose herself. Wow. Directed by John Gulager, written by Stephen King, based on a short story, and Joel Solson. Here's the cast. Marcy Miller as Ruth and teenage Ruth. Jake Ryan Scott as Aaron, that's her son. Sarah Moore as Pretty Girl. Mary Catherine Bryant as Sarah. Lynn Andrews III as Carl, that would be her boss. Kevin Harvey as Raleigh. Diane Ayala Goldner as Mrs. Dawkins. And Eric Starkey as Officer Dave. And the cast goes on. What can I say? I remember quite a few years ago, they did a remake of Children of the Corn on the Sci-Fi Channel, and that was one of the most horrendous fucking remakes I've ever seen in my life. So I went into this movie thinking, wow, what can they do to bring this back to the level of Children of the Corn? So basically it goes from the first Children of the Corn, it skips all the rest of them, and it comes to this one, where Ruth was a teenager back then, escapes the horror of the children cult. 10 years later, her son, she has a son now, and he's trying to protect him from her past. Comes in this town of Oklahoma. She gets a job for this guy Carl, as a mechanic. There's a diner across the street. It was enough to keep me intrigued on what is going to happen. Well, when the moral of the story goes through and it finally comes to the very end of what was going on, I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. All this for that. Hallucinations. I was very, very, very disappointed. I mean, it wasn't bad, but the story I thought could have been better. All they did was made me want to see more, and I guess that's the purpose, but I wasn't satisfied with the ending. Now, it's up to the mind of the beholder. People from my age group in the 50s, obviously, or a little bit younger, obviously seen the first one back in the day and how terrifying it was with the diner scene with everybody getting killed. Again, Lionsgate, alright, but I don't know, I'm a little bit on the edge of this one. It was good, but I didn't care much for the ending. That being said, Children of the Corn, Runaway, 2018. If you haven't seen it, you Children of the Corn fans, however, go see it if you haven't seen it yet. Again, the kill scenes, some of them are pretty cool. The creepy kids was pretty creepy, but the ending disappointed me. So that being said, this is Gruesome Herzog. I give this film a 6 out of 10, above average. I just wish the ending was better. This is Gruesome Herzog, and I'm out of here.